I'm Andy Burt. As I travel across Maine, I see the hopeful signs of the transformation that we can still make. All over Maine, from Kittery to Eastport, from the coast to the mountains, our neighbors are hard at work creating the resilient future they envision. Come with me on a quick tour of Maine and see what's possible. Welcome to the Boothbay region here in Mid-Coast, Maine. At the southern end of the 15-mile peninsula, everywhere we turn, we can see signs of a sustainable and hopeful energy future. Here, faced with the need to upgrade the transmission line to meet the area's power needs, particularly in summer, Maine policymakers accepted a proposal for a Maine-based company, Grid Solar, to design and implement an alternative without new transmission lines and save all Maine ratepayers significant dollars. Bottom line, new transmission lines would have cost $18 million. The project was $12 million while employing Maine energy businesses to install efficient renewables technology in businesses, municipal structures, and residents throughout the community. And more good news. This sets the stage for the community to become a microgrid, generating and storing all of its required energy, and modeling a cost-saving distributed generation alternatives for other Maine communities. The pilot project points the way for Maine to transition quickly to a homegrown, clean energy future that will keep about $5 billion in our economy that today we spend on fossil fuels from away. Across the landscape of Maine, from York to Aroostook County, from Washington to Oxford County, and everywhere in between, Mainers have been making visible the resilient communities we want to wake up in every day. Rooftops are sprouting solar panels for electricity and hot water. Solar farms harvesting sun power are growing up on treeless expanses and landfills. Wind turbines dot a few mountain and island landscapes, but are promising for offshore sites. Architects and contractors are incorporating energy savings into the structures they design and build. Architect Emily Mottram told us how building a home that generates all the energy it needs doesn't have to be complicated or expensive.
I want to find the things that we can do that are really simple and easy that don't cost more money. Like, you can build a net zero house by not putting windows on the north side and facing it south.
Emily and her business partner, Patrice Miller, in consultation with Steve Teal, have put this into practice in a development in Cumberland.
We're able to create virtually as much power as we use.
Partly it's because Patrice is a net zero owner, and just mindful ownership saves a lot of electricity. So that future third row would put this house into the net positive category, allowing it to produce the energy to run an electric car.
Mindfulness in the design process allows Emily, Patrice, and Steve to create space that is more useful and livable.
What we actually do is think about where you're going to be during all the different parts of the day and how you move through the space. And so you can gain a lot more space without gaining a lot of square footage.
Building thriving communities in Maine also includes developing local food systems that nutritiously and affordably feed us while enhancing our soils and our fresh and marine waters. Here, we are a national leader.
You know, the future that I see is distributed food production throughout the landscape. That's what it looked like when we started. Just a lawn on a slope. So now, instead of a gently sloping hillside, now I have steps in the landscape. I'm a builder more than a gardener.
Permaculture uses a different paradigm than traditional agriculture.
We're trying to guide the succession of the ecosystem here. We're trying to introduce more food-bearing perennial plants like nut shrubs, berry bushes, and fruit trees. All of these perennial elements, they produce food, they provide ecosystem benefit, wildlife habitat, etc., and they pull a lot more carbon out of the atmosphere.
Jesse also sees potential for the permaculture forest garden model to be adopted by schools.
Once a forest garden is established, there's a lot less maintenance that needs to occur during the summer when kids aren't there.
Maine also has a long tradition of harvesting food from the ocean. New practices may help fishermen continue this tradition in a changing environment.
Well, my hope is that we can demonstrate that growing kelp alongside shellfish makes a difference.
We have the Island Institute, we have Bigelow Laboratory for Ocean Sciences, we have an industry partner, we have Oceans Approved. By working with Paul, we're able to get out on a farm and do this research.
Paul Dobbins farms sugar kelp off Chebeague Island. His company, Oceans Approved, buys kelp from 9 other Maine kelp farmers and produces fresh frozen products for restaurants, schools, and universities, smoothie shops, and others.
You know, we don't know what we don't know about seaweed farming. The Chinese have been doing it since before the written record. The Irish have been doing it for 400 years. And in Casco Bay, this is our 8th season. And so there's a lot that we don't know about how a kelp farm interacts with the environment.
Fishermen are thinking about diversifying their businesses away from just lobster because of climate change and ocean acidification. It's a risky business strategy to have all your eggs in one basket. So they've been thinking more about kelp aquaculture, shellfish aquaculture. However, they also are aware of ocean acidification.
Ocean acidification occurs as carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is absorbed and turns into carbonic acid in the ocean. This oceanic uptake of CO2 can make it hard for lobsters, oysters, and mussels to develop properly. Shell-forming organisms represent 85% of the value of Maine's fisheries landings. Climate scientists tell us we have 12 years to dramatically reduce our carbon emissions and transition to a clean energy economy that also places value on our forests, soils, and ocean plant life, which absorb excess carbon. This is critical if we are to maintain a planet that can support life. Here in Maine, we are already experiencing a climate future as ticks proliferate and the Gulf of Maine is warming faster than most ocean water around the world. The Northeast region can expect the highest rates of sea level rise and ocean warming in the country, and the largest temperature increase in the lower 48 states. Winters will warm 3 times faster than summers, affecting ski season and maple syrup production. These will impact our physical and mental health. Growing kelp could be part of a solution here in Maine.
Growing kelp takes out more nitrogen, more phosphorus, more CO2, lots of the things that we have too much of in the water.
It's tasty, it's super nutritious, it grows naturally, so we're not introducing any new species to this environment.
If it also increases the health of your shellfish, then it's a really good situation.
Repurposing food to feed humans, animals, and compost bins is ranked as a top solution to address accelerating climate change. Getting around our rural and sparsely populated state presents a challenge, but if you pay attention to what's on the road, you see growing numbers of hybrid vehicles and electric cars, full commuter trains and buses, and more people on bikes, particularly in urban areas. Electric bikes and other alternative vehicles are beginning to be seen around town as well. Electric cars may be futuristic, but they still need mechanics. The Paris Auto Barn is already showcasing possible new solutions for local shops.
It's a 40-panel system, and it does supply probably 95% of the power for the shop.
We heat the shop and cool the shop with our heat pumps that run off the solar. And then we have our parts washer is a water-based bioremediating parts washer, so it's got bacteria in it. We have customers that when we service their vehicles, if we're doing tires or alignments or something on electric vehicles, we plug them in to top our customers' cars off. Tony, the owner, and Travis, the other employee here, they both have electric vehicles. I don't have one yet, but I'm working on it.
So it's time to accelerate the pace of transition to the clean, renewable future that we know is possible. We have the technology and just need the will to make it so. From bare fields to productive school garden, from empty rooftops to a model energy project, from expensive isolation to clean energy independence, the transition is beginning. It makes me feel very hopeful that we are waking up to the emergencies that climate change is presenting us with, and we are taking this into our own hands to act boldly and to invest in the future that we want. Beneath the snowfields at this dairy farm in Farmington, New England's largest solar installation, 77 megawatts on 490 acres, will emerge during 2019, providing the town with $2 million of annual tax revenue. Look around your neighborhood, town, and county for sites that could host solar power, an electric charging station, a community garden or farmer's market. What local and state public policies can expedite the transition? What can you do to bring the vision of the just and sustainable Maine community into reality?